Hey guys, so I am coming on here just quickly to talk about a couple of books that I want to talk about. And I just want to. So I'm going to go ahead and do them. I want to talk about ex's dads. Come on, call me daddy. And I generally hate daddy kink, but in these particular cases, these ones just really, really, really work for me. And the first one I want to talk about in its small town is Here With Me by Brooke Montgomery. I was lucky enough to get an ARC of this book from Forever and Always PR. And this is I think she's 22 and he's 44, so it's a pretty significant age gap. However, my friends, she is feisty and she kicks butt as what did she do? She is a successful horse trainer, and he is a former bull rider. They meet at the rodeo, and so this is small town, okay? And they have a one-night stand. They have an instant connection. She does not know that he is her ex's dad, right? So they have this one-night stand. It's pretty darn good, okay? And anyway, the next morning she goes to leave him her number, except that she finds out his last name and she realizes that she's like, oh crap, it's my ex-boyfriend's dad. So she decides to ghost him. Well, come to find out, he's the new employee on her family's farm, on their ranch. And so it's forced proximity. It's workplace. It is forbidden because they're not supposed to have the there's a no fraternization policy because of one of her older brothers is a walk-in STD or STI, I guess it's called. Anyway, so he pines after her. Something great. There's definitely opposites attracts. There is definitely some suspense to it because someone's messing with their barn, and it's just like, Fisher's the hero. He's trying to reconnect with his son. So once he finds out who Noah, who's the heroine, once he finds out who she is, he's like, oh, I can't be with you. And so she respects it enough to be like, okay, but she fights for him. I mean, she's tenacious. She goes after what she wants and she fights for him. And ultimately, they know that they can't stay away from each other. So they secretly, covertly start dating each other. And oh my gosh, I love it. And I love how when his son finds out that they're dating, he's like, yeah, I'm grossed out, but I'm okay with it. So I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. I enjoyed every minute of that book. It was just fantastic. And honestly, I loved it. I would highly recommend this one if you like small town, and even if you don't really like ex's dad, this one I highly recommend. It's not smarmy at all. You can't even, it doesn't have that feeling to it that sometimes they do have. Now, here's the thing with this one. You need to check trigger warnings for this one because there is some stuff that you really need to know about this. So it's loss of a child, because he does lose a child at the beginning of this. And there's grief and a suicide attempt at the beginning, which is the reason why he has to repair his relationship with his son. That is not a spoiler, so be aware of that going in, because his son thinks he abandoned him and he didn't. He actually had to go get help for mental health reasons. So absolutely love that one to pieces. I highly recommend it. Another one that I recently read this year that was really surprising to me, that I really thought, I didn't think I was gonna love it, because it's really one of the first Melanie Harlow books that I truly loved. And this one was Tempt by Melanie Harlow. See, this one, Zach, again, this started out with a one night stand when they were like at a convention or something. I think it was in Miami. He didn't know his son growing up. He was an ex-Navy SEAL. She is a designer of wedding dresses for plus size women, and they end up having a one night stand, and she's more friends with her ex. And here's the thing is she didn't more so than being romantically linked to him, because it was never going to work. She knew it, so she ended it very early on. So she was more attracted to Zach than his son. Anyway, they end up sneaking around once they figure it out that he was in fact his son's dad when he was invited to his son's wedding, because his son looked him up when he found out that who he was, because his son's mom did not tell him who he was. Anyway, he didn't know for a long time that he had a son. So again, the same principles really did apply here as it did with like the Brooke Montgomery book. Zach did not have that relationship with his son, where when he began his relationship with Millie, he didn't know who Millie was to his son, and Millie didn't know Zach was Millie X's dad until they figured it out. And it didn't have that factor where it was really taboo, because it wasn't like she grew up knowing that Zach was her ex's dad. So just like the Brooke Montgomery book. So anyway, those two really, really worked for me. I loved both of those for dad's exes. Another one that really worked for me, also, actually, I think it was Tempt, where they met in New York, not Miami, because in Tryst by Lauren Blakely is where they met in Miami. This is book 2 in the Virgin Society. This one, she was friends with her ex as well. And actually in this one, I don't think she actually even slept with her ex, because she was still a virgin when she met Nick, who is her ex's dad. Layla's the heroine, and they met, and this was also a one night stand. And then they go back home. David's the son, and they meet up, and they figure out who each other are when they're in a I think it was a diner, and Nick walks in, and they realize who each other are to David, and they decide to keep it quiet, which is where the conflict causes. David is sort of a kind of a snot-nosed about it a little bit, but again, he wasn't really in David's life so much that Layla didn't really know about him. Again, she didn't grow up with him knowing he was David's father. So it worked really well in this instance. So I feel like this one was a really, really good one as well. The other one I really wanted to talk about, I don't want to make this one too long. The last one I really want to talk about, because we have to talk about it, is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, because this is the OG. This is the one that I feel like started it all. And this one is about Jordan Pike Lawson. So Jordan was supposed to marry her, and she was with Cole. She didn't really know Pike again. It wasn't like she grew up around him. And Jordan wasn't a very good boyfriend to her. He was actually very cruel to her for a while. She ends up meeting Pike in a movie theater when she goes to celebrate her own birthday alone, because her boyfriend doesn't come to pick her up after she gets out of work. She has cupcakes and boxed wine. She goes to see an 80 movie, and Pike happens to be there, and they end up connecting. And anyway, she gets a call, and her boyfriend, I think he is either arrested or kicked out or something, and Pike out of their apartment, and Pike is his dad. He gets a call, and they figure out right away who they are to each other, in terms of who his son is. And they're kicked out of their apartment, so he takes them in to try and help them get on their feet. Well, she is trying to save money and trying to be responsible. Well, his son is partying and doing all this pretty shady stuff, and at one point he's actually just like, he's just being really horrible. She's having these feelings for Pike while she's still in a relationship with Pike's son, and finally she just had enough, and Pike actually had enough and kicks his son out. She stays with Pike and finally they give into their feelings and in a relationship together, and it just gets explosive after that because it is taboo. I feel like this is the very first one that Penelope Douglas, I think, is the first one who did it, and I feel like she started it all. I really do. I mean, there's other ones out there, but Birthday Girl was the first one I've ever read. But these are the ex's dad's romances that I really enjoy. If you see a theme, it's that they did not grow up with the dad. Like, the dad was not present in the life when she was dating the ex, okay? That's, to me, is okay. And it worked very well in these 4 books to me. Anyway, let me know if you have any recommendations for me down below, and make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have made it this far in this video and you want to let me know that you've been here, please leave me a horse emoji, as Noah trained horses. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.